I'm very aware I'm preceding all the cool startups, but bear with me. So I'm Edward, and I run Pivotal Labs, which some of you probably have heard of if there's at least one VC out there. We are a software development consultancy, engineering, design, product, if you haven't heard of us. But we're not the normal kind of outsource your product to us consultancy. So we're thought of as leaders in the agile space. The problem with that is I think that the word agile these days is close to meaningless. So I rarely use the word. If I do, it's with a lowercase a. Really, how to think about us is we're a group of quite a large number of people now, 500 people. We're in 10 locations, although we're based here. And we're just very experienced with writing software with clients. So most of us are developers. There are about 100 designers and product people too, though. And we do have a lot to say about how to write code, agile methods, extreme programming, that kind of world. But the real way to think of us these days is that we're just very experienced at working with teams to build products and to build companies. About half of our clients each year, so about almost 100 clients last year, were VC-backed startups. So companies with VC money who are in the early stages of building out their product. Great product ideas, now go, right? And I know many of you are in that position now. So when I was thinking about what to talk about here, I've apparently got a total of 7 minutes, now 5, to talk to you really quickly. I thought I could just list out some of the very common techniques, methods that we've found powerful for people in your position to keep in mind, right, over the years as we've tried working with these hundreds, thousand companies, right? We've tried so many techniques. I wanted to go through some of the ones that we see work time and time again. So I'm going to race through these, but I'm going to be around later, and there's a few of us out in the audience. Catch me if you want later on. The first one you probably hear a lot, right? But I want to emphasize it. So, how to work as a team. There's a million things to say, but honestly, the most important thing that I can put up here, I found with an early stage VC-backed startup, is be together. It's very tempting to have people work from home or work in different places in the country, around the world, your friends from college, whatever. But honestly, the most important thing we've found to have a level of success above and beyond the next company is just physically co-locate, right? The level of efficiency, the amount of decisions you can make, minute to minute, hour to hour. You've got the product people with the engineering people with the design people. I mean, it's unparalleled. So really consider that. Even if it's expensive, even if it's awkward, I would keep that in mind. The next thing is, well, you've probably heard about many times out of the lean world, but I just say what we see, practically speaking, that's still a problem here, which is not to get stage fright, meaning it's very tempting to think about your company and your product as having one shot to impress the world. And when you're kind of in the cocoon of building a company, even with your VCs looking for demos all the time, it's tempting to just want to wait until it's just right, even if it's an MVP, and then go live, which is not necessarily a bad way of thinking. But the problem is, humans being humans, you tend to wait and wait and wait and get one more feature in, one more design tweak, etc. And the problem with that is not necessarily that it takes too long, but more that you're just not getting feedback from the market, from your end users, until you've baked so much into the product that then you have to back a lot of stuff out, right? some rounds of applause. Yeah. So, what we'd say is get out there before, you should be embarrassed almost, right? Get out there early, learn a lot, be aggressive with your roadmap, cut out scope. This is how you pivot, right? Really push yourself on getting out there earlier than you want, right? The next thing is, I'm the grumpy old man here, and these two people are not boring. I'm not sure why they're up there, but in terms of technical choices, the number of clients we see approach us with an amazing product idea that's been invested in, and then also with an engineering team that has all kinds of great ideas about the latest, coolest tech that's going to make the vision real, is the majority probably of our clients, right? And of course, it's not always the case that the latest cool tech that you found last week is bad. Sometimes it's excellent, right? But on average, what I'd say is just really vet it. Go through, think through your roadmap, think through the next few months of development, do you really need to use technology X that you found last week on GitHub? Do you really need to write some code against some API that provides you tremendous scale, but with a lack of productivity in your first few months that you'll find really painful, right? More often than not, right, just consider the tried and true methods as the default. And if something's brand new and seems really cool, go through it, vet it, try it out, but don't bet the farm on it, right? The number of clients we've had to rewrite pieces of because they've come to us with the latest and greatest technology already baked in, it's embarrassing, right? So just keep this in mind too. It's not a science project. And the last one here is kind of a crusade I'm on personally, and a lot of people at labs agree with me. This is a bit more complicated, and I'm not going to go into how to do this. That's an hour's talk at least in itself, and this gets into more detailed development process. But if you're the engineering team at an early stage startup that's moving fast, you know to expect the product direction to be changing all the time, day to day, hour to hour, right? And so you know you have to write the kind of code that is malleable and can be changed, right? But to put a fine point on it, I think is powerful, right? What are we actually trying to do in that scenario as an engineering team, meaning product and design as well, right? Given that the requirements are known to be changing, perhaps radically. And what I say is that your goal, your ideal, which is almost impossible to completely achieve, is to present to the product team a level of output that's predictable and consistent and indefinite, right? So you don't want to have these peaks and valleys of productivity, where one week you're really killing yourselves, pushing, get a release out, and then boom, the next day you're all exhausted and you realize there's a million bugs and now you're firefighting, right? That happens so much. I mean, that's kind of Silicon Valley, right? And it's not like it's bad, but the problem is the product teams can't really rely on you long term, and you're not really building a long-term engineering culture. So volatility, we define this flux as being, that's your enemy, right? Okay, I'm out of time already. Feel free to grab me. I'll be out there in a minute. If you're from labs, put up your hand. There's a few of you out there. Okay, if you can see those guys, grab them too. I'm out of time though. Maybe, is there time for a couple quick questions? I'm not sure who to ask here. I think apparently the red light's flashing, so no. All right, well, thanks for your time. I'll be backstage. Okay.